This meeting is compliant with the Governor's Executive Order M-28-20 issued on March 17th, 2020, allowing for deviation of teleconference rules required by the Brown Act. The purpose of this is to provide the safest environment for staff, council members, and the public, while allowing for public participation. The public may address the council using exclusively remote public comment options. To address the council, the City Council meeting will be an exclusively virtual meeting. City Council agenda materials may be viewed online at www.brisbaneca.org at least 24 hours prior to a special meeting and at least 72 hours prior to a regular meeting. Meeting participants are encouraged to submit public comments in writing in advance of the meeting. The following email and text line will be monitored during the meeting, and the public comments received will be read into the record during oral communications 1 and 2, or during an item. Activia@brisbaneca.org, text 628-219-2922, and for oral comments for the public hearing only, dial 1-669-900-9128 with a meeting ID 948-5997-4861 and the passcode 917009. Dial *6 to unmute yourself and to avoid audio feedback. Please lower the volume on your device. Public meetings can be viewed live and or on demand via the city's YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/BrisbaneCA, or on Comcast Channel 27. Archive videos can be replayed on the city's website via the All Meetings page, http://brisbaneca.org/meetings. If you need special assistance to participate in this meeting, please contact the city clerk at 415-508-2113. Notification in advance of the meeting will enable the city to make reasonable arrangements to ensure accessibility to this meeting.
I just want to say there's a message here from Angel saying the video is up.
Great, thank you. I understand we are having technical difficulties. I hope they are resolved. And with that, I'd like to call the meeting to order with a Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'd like to join me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And with that, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cunningham.
Present.
Councilmember Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Lentz.
Here.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here. Can we please note for the record that Councilmember, oh my goodness. Conway is absent from the meeting. Thank you. And a report out from closed session, please.
The council took up the one notice item in the direction to the city manager.
Thank you.
I'm told that there's still people who cannot see it on channel 27.
Currently, it seems that the YouTube stream is working, but the cable is out due to yesterday's power outage. So we'll be working on that.
And to note for the record, we will be taping this so that it will be able to be seen later and reviewed by the public, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So with that, we will move forward to an adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I think that several community members wanted to pull, I believe it's item E.
I think we can do that when we get to the consent calendar rather than on the agenda. Is that the case?
Okay.
That's the process.
Okay. So with that, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Councilmember Cunningham,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Lance,
Aye.
and Mayor O'Connell.
Aye. Thank you very much. With that, we're going to start the meeting with a proclamation recognizing Constitution Week from September 17th to the 23rd, 2020. Whereas September 17th, 2020 marks the 233rd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America. Whereas it is fitting to accord official recognition to this document and its anniversary and to the people who will commemorate the occasion. Now, therefore, I do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Thank you. And with that, we will move to oral communication number 1. Are there any written communications for this item?
There are no members of the public who wish to speak.
And we do not have anyone in the waiting room. Should we give it a few seconds to make sure that we have no one in the waiting room for this item?
I see one member of the public. Let me see if this is what this is regarding.
Thank you.
Hello, caller 722-7440. Are you wishing to speak during public oral communications number 1?
Yeah, for number E, for letter E.
The letter E. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put you back on.
For number E, for letter E.
If you could please lower the volume on the device, I'll put you back in the waiting room when it's time for item E.
Okay.
Okay, we are getting quite a bit of feedback, and I apologize for that. That moves us to the consent calendar. From my understanding, there are public comments and members of the public who would like item E removed. Do I have a motion to approve item B, C, D, and F?
I'll make a motion to approve items B, C, D, and F.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Cunningham,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Lance,
Aye.
and Mayor O'Connell.
Aye. Thank you very much. And that brings us to item E, which is to adopt resolution 2020-55, declaring property owned by the City of Brisbane as surplus land. Staff report, please.
Okay, I guess I'll lead off, and I know Tom is available to answer questions also. So this is an item on your calendar tonight. It's a resolution to declare property owned by the City of Brisbane as surplus land. That is a term of art under the Surplus Lands Act of the State of California. It's a requirement that the city put this out to make it available to local public entities, including schools and parks districts within whose jurisdiction the property is located, as well as the housing sponsors that have notified the Department of Housing and Community Development of their interest in surplus property. If no interest or no viable interest is identified within 90 days, then the city is free to move forward with a sale of this property, and that is the item that's for you this evening.
Thank you very much. And I know that we have gotten some comments from the public. Does the city clerk wish to add those into the record?
Yes, Deputy Barra.
Hi, thank you very much, Mayor and Council.
This is from Michelle Salmon. Dear City Council and City Staff, I'm asking you to remove this item from the consent calendar on the council agenda for 9/17/2020, and also to reschedule this item for a duly noticed public hearing. I do not consider this to be surplus property, just as the land sold to South Hill Property, Shanky Bakery, was not surplus property. This is vital interface buffer zone with the wildland habitat and should be respected as such. If the city no longer wants this property, it should be deeded to the San Mateo County Park. This is public land and should remain in the public domain as open space and valued as a habitat buffer zone. You have already cut off the last true public access to this area when you sold the adjacent piece of the old rail spur to South Hill Properties. They have done nothing beneficial with that land, and indeed it has become an eyesore with parking lot garbage. What the staff report characterizes as portions of the property are encumbered with a drainage surplus land, page 2 of 3 canal. I consider this to be an opportunity to daylight more of Guadalupe Creek, the vital watershed from San Bernardino Mountain that flows to the bay. If the city is so worried about holding on to surplus property, I will gladly buy this parcel for $100 and donate to San Bernardino Mountain State and County Park. If the city of Brisbane is so worried about surplus land, then they should approach the county and donate it to the land to San Bernardino Mountain State and County Park so that it can safely and permanently remain in the public domain. This is public property. To put this on the consent calendar without any proper public notice, the public hearing is not transparent and does not reflect well on the inner workings of the city. This land was a gift to Brisbane, the people of Brisbane, and should be respected and treated as such. Respectfully, Michelle Salmon, Brisbane resident. Dear City Council, I agree fully with Michelle Salmon regarding this item. Sincerely, Thomas Lambert, Brisbane resident. To Brisbane City Council, this is from Dana Dilworth. I ask that you take this item off the consent calendar and, as requested in my earlier communications on One San Bruno's low-income housing disposition of assets, and ask that you do a full review of daylight, how you go about declaring surplus property. I am pleased that you now recognize that there is a legal process for disposition of public property, but I'm also concerned that you have not included the APN number in the title or in any place of your resolution. It's just some vague notion of certain property, 28,000 square feet located in Crocker Park. I haven't gone to law school, but omissions of the truth and deceitful, if not outright lies. Please share the genesis of the sale to the public. Don't hide it in a consent calendar motion. This item should include public comments from the Planning Commission meeting of June 11, 2020, where the Commission could not pass a document stating that this item conforms with the general plan. Please incorporate all photos and concerns raised at that time. Are you engaged in an illegal act as well? Does your intended end use conform with all elements of the Brisbane general plan? While I appreciate that the agenda report does indicate there are potential fines for not following the SLA, it also doesn't fully state the site conditions nor that open space is a consideration before commercial enterprises. You are citing the law. You call drainage and encumbrance eligible to be turned into a parking lot. The environmental community sees it as a feature. The watershed from San Bernardino Mountain, which supports all types of life. Streams require setbacks. Streams require maintenance, which the city has failed to do. The adjacent landowners have also failed to maintain this concreted watershed. Doesn't mean there is no other value, no other potential uses in the public's interest. Seriously, this is open space owned by the public. The city is a mere steward of this land. While McKesson didn't impose any conditions or restrictions because they didn't want cleanup responsibility, the adjacent neighbor to this property is San Mateo County Park. Omitted? Certainly not sure that many of the properties that join this strip are developed when 50% are not. It is very disturbing that this and other similar fringe properties like the Park and Ride lot are not held in the highest trust. That a setback from the wildland should be respected for the buffer it is, not coveted for a parking lot. Please reconsider the request. If Frito-Lay needs more parking, then they should find some other place to store their vehicles. How about the park and ride? I think this land should be donated to San Bruno Mountain Watch or the county park. Mountain Watch has demonstrated that they are good stewards. They may have the need for a native plant nursery in the future. The closer that can be to Littman School and the community, the better. I am also offended that you would hire a consultant for a Crocker Park trail plan while you are simultaneously taking assets off the list. The watershed and its creatures deserve better consideration, better stewardship. Don't give it away because you don't want the responsibility. And that finishes Anna Dilbert's comment for item E. Thank you.
Are you going to open it up to questions, Madam Mayor, from the council, the staff?
Yes, I was going to do that, and I'm sorry I saw the displeasure in your face on that. But sure, go ahead and we'll open it up to questions for staff from council members.
Madam Mayor, if I may, Ms. Padilla, is there anybody on the phone waiting to comment on this item? I thought we had somebody wanting to comment.
Yes, there are 2 members of the public wishing to speak about this item.
Thank you.
All right, I think since we've already read those comments, maybe just keep it going, and then I'll ask questions after.
Okay. Go ahead, city clerk.
Caller?
Hi.
Go ahead, you have 5 minutes to speak.
Okay, this is Mary Rogers. I'm the chair of the Open Space and Ecology Committee. Oops. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
We're also getting feedback from your other device.
If you could please mute it.
Oh, okay. Okay, hang on.
I can hear.
Caller, are you still there?
Line open, Ingrid?
It looks like we can't hear the caller anymore. We'll go ahead and admit the second caller. Hello, Michelle, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What?
You have 5 minutes.
Ingrid, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Do you want me to go?
Yes, please.
All right. This is Michelle Salmon, and I gave you written comments, but I also want to make verbal comments. I am really upset about this. I thought it was egregious when we sold the rail spur to Shanghai Bakery for quote-unquote community benefit, and we didn't get any benefit from that except money, which is partially spent already. And they have mistreated the land. It's full of garbage. They haven't done anything to benefit Brisbane at all. And instead we cut off public access to the mountains by doing that. And now we want to do it again. And the current person interested in purchasing, or the current entity interested in purchasing the property, treats it no better than the other people. It's all full of garbage. They let their garbage go everywhere. And this is valuable buffer zone between these buildings and the habitat. And And they should not be made into parking lots, because then you'll just want more buffer zone into the habitat. And if the city does not want to take care of the property, then they should deed it to the county and make it part of the county park, because it is part of the trailway that goes around, circles around, and then goes up to Wax Myrtle Canyon, Dairy Ravine, and Devil's Arroyo. And I am just horrified that this was on the consent calendar to be just brushed off and made surplus property without any kind of public input on it whatsoever. And we asked about this, I asked about this in our July Open Space and Ecology meeting, because I had some inkling that something was going on. And I said, we should discuss this. So we're the Open Space and Ecology Committee, and this is open space. And then we didn't have an August meeting because of the smoke. And I asked about it last night, and we were told, oh, they don't want your input. And I'm sorry, why am I serving on the Open Space and Ecology Committee for 10 years if you don't want my input on open space? That was really hurtful. And I don't think this should be sold. And if you plan on selling it, then I think you should give it to the county. I mean, this is just wrong. It's wrong. This is public land that was given to the public, not for you to sell to Frito-Lay or anybody else. I still resent the fact that we sold to Shanghai Bakery that property, and we shouldn't sell this. We should make it as part of, daylight the creek and make it part of a trail. And I am just so furious over this, I can't even see straight. And I'm sorry for being emotional about it and being angry about it, but I am angry about it. And I thought at least when they did sell the property to the bakery, we would take that money and buy an acre. No, instead we're spending it on a consultant to design the Guadalupe Trail, Crocker Trail as you people keep calling it, but it's the Guadalupe Trail, when we have people who live here who could do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Well, thank you for listening, and please put this in a public hearing. Actually, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Take it off the table altogether now and leave it in the public domain. Donate it to the county. If the county doesn't want to take it in the shape it's in now, I promise I can get you a cadre of volunteers that will clean up that property and make it worthy of being donated to the county park. Thank you.
Thank you. To the city clerk, has Mary Rogers been able to join us again? Thank you. To the city clerk, has Mary Rogers been able to join us again? Again, we're getting a lot of feedback from the line that's open.
Ms. Rogers, we see your number.
Hello?
Yes, thank you. Go ahead, Ingrid.
Hello? Mary, you have 5 minutes?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mary.
Okay, perfect. Like everyone... Okay. Okay.
Ms. Rogers, if we...
Thank you for...
Mary, you need to turn off your other device.
I only have my phone.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You need to turn off your other device. I only have my phone.
I'm not in the Zoom. I'm on my phone.
We can hear you clearly now. It was the volume. We were getting feedback.
Okay. So thank you. Thanks for your patience. Like everyone else, I'm asking council to remove the resolution 2020-55.
thank you. Thanks for your patience. Like everyone else, I talked to council to move the resolution 2020-55.
The resolution should be moved because the Open Space and Ecology Committee, that is our goal. It's to preserve our open space. This is a committee that is supported by council, so I really think
Because Open Space and Ecology Committee, that is our goal, to preserve our open space. This is a committee that is supported by council, so I really think
so. Given that this committee, that our Open Space Committee is supported by council, I just can't understand why we would consider selling this piece of property. And so I'm getting some noise back from this as well, so I'm just going to cut it short. I think it just should be removed.
property. And so I'm getting some feedback from this as well. I'm just going to cut it short. I think it just should be removed.
Mary, this is Cliff. If you could just power through what you want to say, we'll hear it clearly, and then the feedback will come after you have finished speaking, but your message will get to us loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, just City Council to consider removing item E, Resolution 2020-55, for reasons of preserving open space. I mean, I think that's very important to the OSPEC committee. It's important to the residents of Brisbane, and it's a committee that's been supported by City Council for many, many years. Hopefully that gets through. Thank you.
Thank you. And City Clerk, do we have any other members of the public new members of the public who wish to speak?
I got a text from Anya Miller saying that she has sent written communication, but I have yet to receive it. She said she sent it a day ago.
Well, if we do not have the written communications, if she would like to call in, we can give her a moment to do so. Otherwise, I'm not sure how we could handle that.
Madam Mayor, you can begin. If the moment doesn't work, you can begin the give and take that Councilmember Lentz wanted to do. Everybody's being very patient. And that is what the intention is. Public has a chance to comment. But I think giving that moment and then coming back if she calls is great. Legally great.
Okay. Is there any council discussion? And I believe Councilmember Lentz wanted to start us off.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, if I could just ask some questions. So, in the staff report, when it talks about the background, and there's quotation marks around surplus. So, and I'm assuming that it's doing that, staff is doing this because we have to describe it as such. Is that correct? And so, okay, thank you, Tom, for nodding your head in agreement. I guess we don't have audio, so you're going to have to say yes.
Yeah, we don't. Sorry.
Video, excuse me.
Yes, the
Okay.
process that's being followed, Councilman Lentz, is surplus land and exempt surplus land are in quotes because they're defined terms under the law. This is a state law that the city is complying with. This is the first step of the process and put all the legally interested parties plus anyone else that may be interested on notice that there is an opportunity to come in and try to take over this land from the city. It does not have to be through purchase. The council hasn't made that decision. The first step is notifying interested parties, including the county, parks, HCD, and others at the state level, that's housing and community development, that there is land available in Brisbane for potential other use than being held by Brisbane, period.
Okay, and that the word surplus doesn't mean that it doesn't have value.
It does not mean it doesn't have value, quite the contrary.
Got it. Okay, great. So then, in regards to, going to the site, Councilmember Davis and myself visited that location with staff. I guess it was a couple of years ago, Madison. And, just looking at the site, it was overgrown with invasives. Doesn't mean that the invasives couldn't be removed. But there was also, I believe, there's a bee ditch in between the hillside and this property. Correct, Clay?
Correct.
Okay. And then, let's see, to the south of the property is not the Shenki location, but actually another property owner.
I know Randy with us. I believe that is accurate, but Randy, can you confirm that?
Yes, sir. That is accurate as stated.
All right. And then I remember when we were discussing Shenki purchasing the land that is south of them, or adjacent to them. Their intent was to have this piece of land be in the same configuration as what currently already exists with that property that's in between Shenki and Frito-Lay. Does that make sense, Randy?
Sir, my recollection is that Shenki purchased that because they were going to do a building expansion and they needed to offset from their property loss.
Yeah, and okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't very clear. So, but yes, they were going through the expansion. They wanted to have additional parking, and that they were proposing to do the parking extension similar to the adjacent property.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And so the only way to have continued access from, I guess is it North Hill Drive? That's near the Dolby, South Hill. So to access, Crystal Cave and those trails that are up there, coming through the property that we did own, that we did sell to Shenki, you would have to either go on the V ditch or cross over into the adjacent property parking lot. Correct.
So, other than using the V ditch, yes, it's correct. The only way you could access the park from that location would be for you to trespass upon someone else's property.
Okay, so there's not a clear line from what we used to own to this current property that we own.
That's correct. When McKesson obtained the property, that railroad spur, that old remainder railroad spur, to transfer it to us, a piece of it, the piece between Shenki and between Frito-Lay had already been acquired by another private party. And so that's why that's always been a dead end. It's been you can't get to it. That piece blocks the public from using it.
Can I interrupt, please? We're talking about parcel owners. The map that is in attachment 2 has parcel numbers and parcel letters. So I think that for the public's interest, that we should be calling them parcel B or parcel A, or by their actual APN numbers, so that we can correlate the map that is in the packet to what we're talking about, because there's nothing mentioned here, Shenki or Frito-Lay or Dolby. So there's no reference for the public to be able to follow.
So I can, well, sure, man, I'm happy to do that if we want to refer to that map. So as you are looking at that map, the piece that is shaded in yellow is the property that's under discussion for this agenda item. It's the property that the council is being asked to consider surplus. The piece to the right that's labeled as Lot 1 is the piece that was obtained by a private party prior to Foremost McKesson obtaining the rest of the spurs and transferring it to us. So that's, and then the next piece to the right of Lot 1 is the spur that was sold to Shenki a number of years ago. So in the discussion that Councilmember Lentz and I having is that the piece to the far right, the piece that actually does join South Hill Drive, sure, when the city owned that, the public could access it and they could go up it, but as soon as they got to the end of Shenki property, to the parallel with Shenki property line, they were prevented from continuing on that unless they were going to trespass across that other property.
Again, Shenki is parcel B or parcel A?
I don't see an A or a B on there, ma'am.
I think we're looking at two separate maps. The public map, parcel A is Frito-Lay, parcel B is Shenki. Parcel B or I is Shenki. Randy, is Shenki directly adjacent to Frito-Lay on the main parcel, not
It is not.
okay. So
Where is this map found? Is this in the staff report? I'm just not seeing it. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the very back, Randy. Very back.
So, I know this probably gets confusing, but Shenki is not actually on the map.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. All
Right.
That's what I thought.
You're correct.
Okay, so,
I'm not even seeing South Hill on this map. I'm only seeing West Hill on this map.
Correct.
so, in regards to this map, Randy, so that yellow strip, that's the land that we own. That this is the land that's the 28,000 square feet.
Mhm.
So, where it has a parcel B, though, the very large parcel at the end of West Hill.
Well, it's 10.
I can't see that, but I'm wondering, could we get,
Hensley.
Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe we should.
we're all talking about the same map.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be in the file I'm looking at. I apologize for not having it.
It,
Madam Clerk, is there a way to share the screen?
Hang on.
Yes, let me look for the agenda report item.
Just for reference, there's two parcel A's, there's two parcel B's on the map, so you should just refer to them as 21, 14, 10,
Yeah,
11, 8, because it
Okay.
gets confusing.
I agree. I mean, those numbers on both maps, though, the 10, so 10 is what, Madison, what's the name of that company?
Hensley.
10 is Hensley.
Yeah. So, can I ask a question while we're goofing through this? So even if that piece of land were deeded as open space, how would anybody in the public ever get there without trespassing on somebody else's property?
Well, people generally go there right
No.
now because they take a trail up to Crystal Cave, which is not a great trail, but there's a parking spot, I believe, for the public right there, and they kind of cross over and go right up the mountain.
Through the back of the Hensley property?
It's like right in between. They just kind of like pop over.
They usually, many of us who have used it just go through the Hensley parking lot on the weekend because they're not typically there.
Right.
But so this is the map that I was seeing.
Oh, yours is bigger.
Okay, great.
so then, Randy,
So in the
it is
conversation,
a different map. Yes.
is it a different map
It
than
is
what you
a
have?
different map. Yes,
Well,
it
it's
is.
the same. It's just bigger. It's wider.
Got more.
It's a different map. It has different detail on it.
It's the same as the one I have, and I have just an electronic file, so,
I have a printed file,
and it's
and
different.
it is different.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
So, actually, if we want to move this to a different setting, at another date, I mean, there isn't there isn't a time constraint on this, is there, Randy?
What's the time constraint, sir? I mean, you have an interesting buyer that would like to
Can we bring
process
it to the state? Can we, post it as under a different heading, like, new business, at our next meeting? There isn't like, we got to make this deal now, or we're going to lose the potential buyer.
I don't think Frito-Lay is going anywhere, sir. They own the park.
Got it. Okay, thank you. So yeah, I mean, if I can make a recommendation to the council, maybe let's put it on the next agenda or the following agenda under new business, and perhaps have a couple of members of OSEC and the council liaison go with staff and check out the site. But then also, I think, we need to show how this could be a benefit in being able to access those trails in a legal manner. Randy, if you could please clarify, I mean, the Frito-Lay is offering basically a public easement to get to those trails through their property, aren't they? With this proposal, right? So
they are. So the parcel A that people have described, where there are two numbers in it, right? There's a number 14 in there, and there's a large number 300, which is the ABN page. If folks see that.
Yep.
And to the left of that, there's a sideways running dimension of 116.59 feet, and then one of 51 feet. So that is the westernmost boundary of Frito-Lay's property, and they've offered to provide and construct for us a 5-foot wide hiking trail along there. And then as that line would then come down and join the area that's highlighted in yellow, they've also offered to extend that trail all the way to the left of this page as you're looking at it. So it would be a continuous, uninterrupted access from the public road, West Hill Place, to where San Bruno Mountain is.
Okay, no, thank you. And I think that I'm glad you're clarifying that, Randy, because that's really, really important. And then, just getting back to the Shenki sale. And I know there was comments saying that we didn't really get anything except for money, but we invested that money. We did the bicycle pedestrian master plan, and because we did that master plan, we were able then to use it to receive the $850,000 that will be used to resurface the Crocker Guadalupe trail. Correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Right, and then the balance of those funds is there's a subcommittee or an ad hoc committee, of open space, 2 members, and 2 members of Park and Rec, and they're supposed to work out how we to make a recommendation to the council how we spend those additional funds.
I'm not familiar with that, sir, but I take it your word on it.
Okay, well, Clay, is that? Am I accurate with that, or am I off base there?
I believe, I know Stuart's on in the meeting too. I think he's been working with the Parks Commission and the Open Space Committee on that aspect of it. I don't know, Stuart, did you want to add anything to that?
No, that's exactly what's happening. So the committee recommended to the City Council improvements at First Canyon, which were approved, and also the study that the Parks and Recreation Commission, the Open Space and Ecology Committee, and the Public Arts Committee all asked that we do a study along the Crocker Industrial Park Trail or the Guadalupe Trail, depending on how the City Council is going to ultimately name it, to incorporate art as well as to improve some of the open space connected to the trail.
All right. So then the money that was received from the sale of that property to Shenki has been put into proper and useful public use.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then the potential sale of this spur trail could also be utilized for the public good, for whatever the council decides, you know, and of course you could also refer to, you know, this ad hoc committee to come up with recommendations for the council.
Well, yes, sir. The funds would go to the general fund, and they would be obligated and pointed to whatever direction the council directs.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, that's it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I do have one quick question. Hopefully it's quick for staff. And if this property were to be declared surplus, is there a fiduciary responsibility by the city council to take the highest bidder, or could we, if surplus or deemed surplus, have it be donated? Is there a fiduciary responsibility there to make money, so to speak?
Madam Mayor, the duty is different make money, and I know you're just using a simplified way of explaining it. The duty is not a fiduciary duty, but there is a duty to the city not to, under state law and the Constitution, not to donate public land. Obviously, that makes it sound like you can't deed it to a farm or anything like that. You can do. You just are supposed to use reasonable judgment as a council in determining which offer or outcome to approve. And as long as you've acted reasonably and have a record of it, then that meets your duty.
Thank you. I like that simplified answer. I did hear a recommendation from Councilmember Lentz to continue this item to a different meeting once we've had time to digest the comments and review it within our committees. And if there's any other members of the council who would like to speak on this, and if Ms. Councilmember Lentz would like to make that recommendation, I would certainly entertain that.
I would like to speak on it.
Please go ahead.
I think that I would like to continue it to another meeting. I feel incredibly uncomfortable that the public is not able to access this meeting on TV right now. Like, I actually don't know that I feel comfortable making any decisions tonight, because I'm getting a ton of texts of people who want to talk about multiple items, and they can't watch it. And I think that we have placed a lot of hoops. You got to go to YouTube. You got to call in with your phone. You can't actually participate in this Zoom. So I feel that people are really feeling challenged at engaging with us on a regular basis since we went to this format, but especially this evening. And I think that if we continue it to another night, we should have a representative from Frito-Lay speak for themselves, talk about why they want to do this expansion, and be available for the community to ask questions of them.
Except for the question of access, I would recommend the council take a 5-minute break and understand exactly what technology is accessible right now. On the Frito-Lay piece, I want to stress that Frito-Lay is offering to take over the land. That would be one offer. This process kickstarts where others can come in and make their offers, their proposals. So if we hear from Frito-Lay now, and then others come in later, it takes what is supposed to be an open process for 60 to 90 days, and it puts the weight towards Frito-Lay, whether we intend it or not, up front. So I would recommend we follow the Surplus Land Act and hear from people in due course. That being said, Madam Mayor, it does seem that I can see it, but it sounds like other people can't, and it just may be that I'm in Davis this evening. So I would suggest you take a break and let's find out where the technology is.
I think that's a good idea. We'll take a 5-minute break, and staff will determine what our technology is, and we'll come back and reconvene in 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're live.
Thank you. I want to thank the public and staff and our council for the letting us get a little clarification on what's going on with our technology. I would like to continue this item and this meeting to our next regularly scheduled date. And it's in an abundance of caution and transparency that we do not have full public participation at this time. And so I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make that motion.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. And with that, I would take, does staff want to make any comments on this, or should we just do a roll call vote?
The only comment I would make, just for the public's edification, is that our understanding is that the issue had to do with a transmitter that may have had an outage yesterday, and due to the fires from Comcast, the fire was not obviously caused by Comcast, but one of their transmitters may have had an outage yesterday, and that's what's causing the problems in terms of the Channel 27 tonight. So we'll obviously be in touch with Millbrae TV and hope to get this straightened out as quickly as possible. And apologize to the public and to the council that this took place tonight. Very sorry that we ran into this problem.
Thank you very much. And with that, this meeting will be televised in its shortened version and made part of the public record. And I would like a roll call vote, if I may, to adjourn.
So, Madam Mayor, just wanted to let you know that the oral communication will then also be for the next meeting.
I believe that will be the case also, yes.
Okay, will do.
City Attorney, you had a comment?
You're continuing the meeting, and other than that, I've just changed adjournment.
Okay.
We will not reconvene this evening.
Okay. Thank you so much. So a motion to continue this meeting, and if I can have that motion again for the record.
Do we need to set a date of the continuance?
Yeah, as I understand the motion, I was just correcting the description by the restatement. As I understand the motion, it is to continue the meeting to the next regularly scheduled meeting date. That agenda will be published 72 hours in advance and show everything. Those who are on the line, as the mayor said, do apologies to everybody. It's really not clear how many things are out and how many things aren't. So the motion is to continue. Madam Mayor, you're right. Everything will show up on the agenda 72 hours in advance of the next meeting, and you will be good with that motion by Ms. Davis and seconded by Ms.
Yes. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Cunningham?
Aye.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Lentz?
Aye.
And Mayor O'Connell?
Aye. Thank you very much, and thank you to the public. Thank you.
Goodbye.